good.
There
So
we go.
I'm pretty excited to talk to you about Love Gets a Room because there's a very deep story. And
Thank you.
I mean, you're writer, director, but as a writer, how did you even come across this play?
Actually, the other writer did, David Safier, this German writer who was doing some research for one of his novels. And he found this play. He found out that in the Warsaw ghetto in those days, there was a pretty rich cultural life because people wanted to do what they knew how to do. Musicians tried to play on cafes, poets read their poetry on bars, on little places, and actors kept on doing their plays. And this specific play was so bold and strange, people laughing at their conditions, death, hunger, cold, corruption, violence. And he found it fascinating. He wrote this first draft. Then I read it. I did my own research, especially things written inside the ghetto between 1939 and 1943, because I didn't want to use any information written afterwards or from the outside. I wanted to leave the confusion and what very different people thought in an environment in which people wanted to live for another 30 minutes. And then I took over and I did the rewrite because I found it absolutely fascinating. This group of actors doing something completely unlikely in the darkest conditions.
Was the concept from the beginning was set on the actors, the whole play taking place? Because that's like acting on acting. So that must have been really challenging too. Not only for you guys as writers, but in directing for you, director, but also for the cast.
Yeah, you're right. It's a puzzle. It's a puzzle. It's like going to one of these circuses in which you have three arenas and different people is doing different things. Everything is about point of view because if you are a member of the audience, you're going to see the play, just the play from the outside in an objective way. If you are inside the stage, you are going to live what the real actors feel and how they communicate and what the subtext is about. If you are in the right wing, you're going to see things in a very different way. Or if you are in the halls or inside the dressing room. And also everything happens in real time. So you can have an actor who's singing in this popular language and expression, and then he goes to the right wing while the music keeps on rolling, and they have a very raw conversation with another character. But then when their part is back, they have to get out again and keep on singing their song. And sometimes this happens in one single take, so you have to synchronize everything like it was a circus. So it was hard for everybody. And many times the actors didn't exactly know what they were doing because sometimes I gave them different instructions for the same lines depending on the point of view. But they really trusted and they jumped. And when they saw the edit, they finally understood everything.
Speaking of editing, you have some really magnificent long shots. How did you put them together? Because there's somewhere it looks like it was a very one full long shot.
Yeah, we start with a 11-minute long take. I think that the key is not trying to achieve some technical challenge, but to tell the story. For instance, the reason why we start with this 11-minute long take is so we could live in first person what Stefcha, our protagonist, lived. I wanted the film not only to be a film to be watched, but also a film to be experienced. And this theater is not anywhere. It's in the ghetto. So the audience needs to leave the ghetto. They need to walk with her and feel her fear and know about the huntings or about this checkpoint or about what crossing even the ghetto is. That's why we cross the whole ghetto, then we get into the theater, we cross its cuts, and finally we get on stage and the curtain rises, and in a way it's a way of saying, and now our story starts. But there are many other long takes, and also because I wanted everybody to feel how this was for every one of our character when they have a very difficult or sensitive conversation at the dressing room, then they hear the start of the song and they have to run and get out on stage and start singing. The only way of making everybody feel that and feel the physical place and even the cold and the lack of light and everything was trying to do this in these long one-ers, though many members of the audience won't even notice that these are long takes, of course.
The reason for including the scene where there's a checkpoint that Anastasia is going through, and then she makes this effort to make this older lady smile and, you know, help her not be so stressed. What's your reasoning for that scene?
Well, on one hand, these German officers want everybody to laugh at his jokes. Otherwise, he will get mad. So Anastasia is trying to help this old woman who doesn't find the energy to laugh, even pretending some smile. But at the same time, you think of that, in a way, it's a summary of our film, how laughter sometimes can save our life, or sometimes it's the only thing we have. In a way, our movie, and I don't mean to sound cheesy, is the story of a very small, trembling candle in the middle of a huge ocean of darkness. So this is the story of something that shouldn't happen, and above all, it's a story of a group of actors who try to do the only thing they know how to do. Because this is what happens with theater actors, actually. One of them gets sick, but he does the play. Maybe your father dies, you cry for him tomorrow, but tonight you do the play. Or the lights go out and you light a few candles, but you do the play because the play must go on. And actors do this not because they are generous. Of course, they also are generous and they help everybody, but they are also selfish and they also would do whatever for an applause. And everything is true at the same time. And that's what I really like of stories and characters. When they are contradictory and ambivalent and they have different reasons for doing things, especially in this place in which the principal motivation for every character is trying to live for another 30 minutes.
And Anastasia says it, one of her lines, right? She says something like, I want to live, but it's like we're already dead.
Yeah, I remember that one of the characters says that, do you believe in life after death? And she says something like, I wish there was one before. Yeah, in a way, this have some of this energy of this Billy Wilder energy. I really admire and love Billy Wilder because he sounds so pessimistic, of course. At the same time, he can be so funny in the darkest way, but at the same time, he hides inside himself the heart of a romantic. Like he didn't trust humanity, but he still trusted love, and probably only love. And probably this is what Love Gets a Room is about, what real love is. Not romantic love, but real love.
What was one of the scenes that you enjoyed filming?
I shouldn't say this, but I really enjoyed the scene of the German officer. Because the actor was so brilliant, and in a way, you have in a way to enjoy a bit with his lines, because you are trying not to draw a villain, but someone that in a way tries to be likable, which is even more disturbing. It's very different. But in one of these Tarantino movies, in which you in a way smile or laugh, and you shouldn't, and you don't want to, but you find yourself doing something you are not so comfortable with. So I really enjoyed trying to put together so many elements with all the actors on stage, the whole group, the whole troupe, also the reactions of the audience, and also shot in a very complex way all along 3 different days with this great actor, Magnus Krepper. And a terrible headache, sorry. When you do one of these long takes, you really suffer, especially because in our case, we needed to rehearse for the whole day and only had 40 minutes to shoot, because we did that on July. And of course, the movie happens on the winter. So the light was right only for 40 minutes. So we only had like 3 bullets to shoot, which is pretty stressful, but also very vibrant and in a way joyful.
Final ending, was that the original ending?
Not exactly. Not because something different happened, but because something else happened. After this final ending, when they end the play, there's a final conversation out of the theater which didn't change anything, but it was a beautiful conversation. It was a beautiful piece of writing. But when I finished the edit, I felt that it was like a kind of extra ending, like the movie ended for 3 times. So I prefer to take it out and go to this scene of Stefcha singing, which was also the original ending. So I just took out one dialogue between the ending of the play and the singing of the song. But the only reason was narrative. I felt that the energy of the viewer, in a way, inconvenient way.
Mm-hmm.
I never changed the meaning of the ending.
Well, thank you, Rodrigo, for your time. I appreciated talking to you, and maybe in the future, hablamos en español for one of your Spanish projects.
And Nancy, thanks for everything.
Adios. Bye-bye.
Bye.